Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Box Office Talk. This is the show where I break down what happened at the box office, see if my predictions for the top 5 are correct, then make predictions for next week's top 5. So let's get right on into it. Last week I predicted that number 1 would be Crazy Rich Asians, number 2 would be A.X.L, number 3 would be The Meg, number 4 would be The Happytime Murders, and number 5 would be Mile 22. And I got all 5 of my predictions wrong yet again. Well, not all of them, because number 1 I actually did manage to get right, and that would mean that Crazy Rich Asians is once again number 1 at the box office. Now, last weekend it made around $25 million, at least that's what I reported on, and this weekend it actually made pretty much the same amount, $25 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $76 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $83 million. This really does show the crazy staying power that this film has, and that's pretty great, honestly. A lot of people are talking about this movie and spreading it around, and hopefully it is able to make a lot more money also, because I actually did see this film this weekend, and I actually did enjoy the film, so I'm glad that this movie's making all the money it can. If people are really loving this film, then I'm happy for them and that they're being able to experience it and share it with others who also love it. Moving on to number 2, though, we have The Meg, which made $13 million, adding to a domestic total of $105 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $408. It's about $92 million away from getting to $500 million worldwide. I'm not sure if it'll get there. I'm not sure if it's going to open anywhere else anytime soon, but this is still a really great number for this film, especially with a relatively smaller budget, like as far as like compared to other big blockbusters. This is a pretty small big budget movie, at least with a $130 million budget. So I'm really happy that this movie's made all the money it can, hoping for more, and hopefully we get another Meg film, because you know how much I love The Meg. Moving on to number 3, we have The Happytime Murders. It actually did a little bit better than I thought, but still at the end of the day, it only made about $10 million this weekend, and this is on a budget of $40 million. I think this movie was trying to get the audience of Sausage Party, the, fans of the children's entertainment turned adult humor and all this stuff. I'm not sure if people saw it and were like, that's not really like a Sausage Party at all. A lot of the reviews are more negative than the Sausage Party ones also, so that kind of shows a huge disconnect right there. And that kind of sucks for this movie, because it could have been a big hit, but if the makers of the film didn't really make a good product, then of course it's not going to sell like they wanted to. Moving on to number 4, we have Mission Impossible Fallout, which made $8 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $193 million. It's only $2 million away from surpassing Rogue Nation, which is pretty fantastic if you ask me, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $538 million, which is $8 million away until it surpasses Mission Impossible 2 worldwide. So once again, this movie is still surpassing the other films on the box office charts. It still has about, domestically, 30 more million or so until it surpasses every single Mission Impossible film domestically, and I'm hoping that it does happen, because since this is the best one, I think it only makes sense that this makes the most money out of all of them. Number 5, we have Christopher Robin, making $6.3 million, adding to a domestic total of $77 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $112 million. And yes, this finally became the highest grossing Winnie the Pooh related film, both domestically and worldwide, which I'm sure is a great achievement for them, but at the same time, they still need about $38 million more until they double that $75 million budget, which maybe it will. I'm wondering if there's any more places this film has to be released yet. I'm pretty sure there is, so maybe they'll make more money through that. This isn't a big hit like they all wanted it to, but the fact that it's the highest grossing Winnie the Pooh project kind of does show that there are still people willing to revisit Winnie the Pooh, both domestically here in the States and also worldwide. So at least they have something going there. Moving on to number 6, Mile 22. I thought for sure this movie would stay in the top 5, but it didn't. Thank God, honestly. It made $6.03 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $25 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is only sitting at $31 million. And last weekend, I think I said that the budget was around $35 million, and it's actually much larger than that. The budget is actually $50 million. So they're actually taking an even bigger hit than what I originally expected. They need to make about $100 million to be considered a success, and right now they're definitely not going for that, which kind of sucks for Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg. They've had a really rough time with their 2 last projects, Deepwater Horizon and Patriots Day, not making a lot of money, kind of considering being flops. So this really doesn't help them also. But at the same time, this movie's much worse than those other 2 films, so I don't really feel that bad. Moving on to number 7, we have Alpha, A.X.L, which made $5.6 million, and that adds to a domestic total of $20 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $27 million. And last weekend I made a typo in my notes. I'm pretty sure I said that the budget was $178 million, and that's not true. Somehow the Mission Impossible budget got wrapped up in there. The budget is actually $51 million, so it's not a huge waste or anything, but still, this is a pretty big flop nonetheless, because like Mile 22, it has to make over $100 million to be considered a success, and right now it is struggling to even get to $30 million right now. I think it will in the next coming days, but it's taken 2 weeks to do that. Moving on to number 8, we have BlacKkKlansman making $5.3 million, adding to a domestic total of $32 million, and on the worldwide chart it is sitting at $40 million, so it was able to double its $15 million budget, and hopefully once it gets $5 million more dollars in the near future, that will show a sign of tripling that budget once they surpass $45 million worldwide, and that's fantastic. I'm so glad that this film is being considered a success. I hope this movie maybe gets released again, or more theaters release it or something like that. I just really would like to see this movie make even more money, because it really is one of my favorites of the year. Maybe around Oscar time they'll re-release it or something like that, but fingers crossed. Moving on to number 9, we have A.X.L. Oh dear lord, I thought this movie would make it in the top 5, but it didn't. It made $2.9 million, and this is on a budget of $10 million. A $10 million budget. This is considerably very low, and it only made about $2.9 million. This is definitely a huge flop. And that sucks, but at the same time, like I said for Happytime, if you don't make a good product, then not everyone's going to go out to see it. And from what I've been hearing, they did not make a good product here. And I'm honestly, I'm not even sure how many people even knew of this film's existence. There's that to consider also. And finally, number 10, we have Slender Man. It made $2.7 million, adding to a domestic total of $25 million, and on the worldwide chart, it is sitting at $33 million. So, for a budget of $10 million, they actually were able to triple that budget. So this movie is actually not as big of a flop as you might think. Sure, it didn't make gangbusters or anything, but it's still not necessarily a flop because they did triple that $10 million budget. So could we maybe see another Slender Man movie in the future? I hope not. Now it's time for the fun part, the predictions for next week's top 5. Number 1, I think will be Crazy Rich Asians yet again. Number 2, I think will be Kin. And then number 3, The Meg. Number 4, The Happytime Murders. And then number 5, Searching. I think that film has enough buzz that maybe it will make enough money to get into the top 5. But what are your predictions for next week's top 5? Leave it in the comments below, and if you got your predictions right for this week, you're going to get a shout out right now. Unless you didn't get it right, then I'm sorry. And as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.